Okay, we're going to read Exodus chapter 5, verses 10 through 14. And we're going to start out by listening to a little of Ron Wyatt's story in Revealing God's Treasure after we read about preacher and Oxford Don, also known as John Wycliffe. He's the author of the old-time English version of the Bible that we're reading in this series. Oxford was composed at this time of 6 colleges. It had about 75 members, all of whom were of the clergy. It served about 1,500 undergraduates. It was surrounded by priories and halls which were full of monks and friars who were a constant source of irritation to the members of the university. It was the best university in all of Europe, surpassing even the great universities of France. In 1361, Wycliffe became rector in the church of Fillingham in Lincolnshire, which meant technically that he was its pastor, but which meant in fact, as was the custom in those days, that he received the income from that parish while he could continue his studies and work in Oxford. This did not mean that he totally neglected his parish, for he preached there from time to time, and it did make him an ordained minister in the Roman Catholic Church. In 1368 he was transferred to Lutterworth, a parish in which he spent the last years of his life. Oxford was, however, the seat of his labors. During his studies and for years after he had completed them, he was a teacher at Oxford. Again, during his studies and for years after he had completed them, he was a teacher at Oxford. Much of his reformatory work was done within those halls. He was always and preeminently a professor and not, in the first place, a preacher. The friars who lived in Oxford premises and who caused the university untold grief were to become the first objects of Wycliffe's anger. He wrote a book, Objections to the Friars, which really sounded the trumpet blast of reform. Some systems are unreformable. I don't know if my computer is one of them, but it's glitching out. Okay, Mount Sinai, the rock which flowed forth water. We read about Wycliffe. Let's check out a little more of this if we can.
The bull was placed in high esteem in Egypt, where the children of Israel had just left. So they created images that came natural to their rebellious heart. These images were inscribed here because the golden calf was resting here at the time. These inscriptions are unique to Saudi Arabia, according to a Saudi archaeologist. Mount Sinai was first discovered in 1984 by Ron Wyatt and his sons, who walked across the border into Saudi Arabia without a visa in order to document the evidence here. After seeing the mountain, he awaiting execution before they were finally released.
Okay, well, I'm not sure what's happening. The computer's not happy, so I'm going to hit the stop button.